Super good. Good morning, family. Mama Bear Prepping, Tasha. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about emergency preparedness. We really just talk about what me and my family do for different scenarios, situations, building towards self-reliancy. And hopefully that helps you pop off your own ideas for you and your family. Okay, so let's get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of staying safe, keeping your family safe, and the importance of this thing that I want to talk about, which is defense of your home, which is defense of your property, your supplies, your preparedness items, all the things you have in your house, to include your home, and how you think that through as far as keeping your family safe. You know, living here in America, we often have this kind of aura that we're the biggest and the baddest. You know, we have, this imaginary, if you will, thought process that America the Great can't be, torn down, can't be destroyed, and it's great here. And the reality is that there's a lot of very bad things that are happening here in this country right now, and it's not good, right? There's actually, I was reading a couple articles, countries more and more often are actually giving travel advisories about coming to America, about coming here, the land of the great, where everybody comes to make it, bring their families here, survive, right? Survive, the whatever's happening in their own countries. And there's actual travel advisories like, hey, if you're going there to visit family, visit, to travel and just to see the world, and you're going to America, that you need to be safe, and that there's precautionary, hey, you need to be safe going there because for different levels of concern, right? That we are a target of terrorists, that we are a target, or that we have a large amount of mass shootings that happen, that we have a lot of just personal one-on-one violence, right? A lot of crime, high crime, that, the average American has weapons. And so these are like real travel advisories that several countries are putting out: New Zealand, Australia, Canada. I mean, you name it, the list goes on. There's tons of them, right? And we always think we have travel advisories about going places. Maybe there's a disease that broke out, or maybe there is strife, there is conflict, there is something like Sudan, for example, right now, right? Don't travel here because there's conflict going on and it's a dangerous place. And they do that to us, and you don't think about it, but we're being warned against, okay? Because that's how bad things are getting here. And so keeping your family safe in an environment like that, and not being complacent, because it's very easy when you live here every day in, day out. You keep seeing this stuff on the news, you keep seeing crime, you keep seeing things happening, and it just becomes, you become numb, you become complacent, it becomes normal, that it's not, mass shootings, like, oh, another. I remember when a mass shooting would happen and everybody would stop what they were doing, like, oh my goodness, a school just got shot up, or this just happened, or whatever. It happens so often now, nobody cares. It's like, oh, another mass shooting, right? Like every single day there's a mass shooting. Every single day there's this crime, or there's crime happening and we don't talk about, like Chicago's off the chain. I don't know that a city can rival against, the crime that happens at that city, the murders that happen in that city, the violence that happens in even just a 1 weekend period, all of the time, over and over and over again. Don't get it twisted. There's definitely cities that can, compete, but it's bad. It's a bad situation. And so you have countries that are like, hey, it's dangerous to go there. And so we have to warn ourselves. We have to stay on guard. We have to warn our children. We have to teach our children how to act. And if you are somebody who prepares and is ready, and you're not part of that group that's unprepared, you're not going to panic when something happens. However, if anybody gets wind that you have anything, that you are a person that prepares, that you have stockpiled anything, that you are living okay, that's a target on your back. And so there's a couple different things to think, or ways to think of this. There's the, how do I protect my home? How do I keep my home safe? How do I keep people out of my home? Raiders, onesie, twosies, thefts, right? Thieves, criminals, or a group of people that end up coming. Somebody asked me in the comments, what do I think is going to happen? Like, how long do I think the violence is going to happen? And I think that the whole thing, once the law drops and it's, the rule of law is gone, there is none of that, then I that's when it starts, and it doesn't come back until there's some sort of order put together. There's something, whether it's a government, a group, something is restored, it's never going to come back. What's going to happen is you're going to have an event, people are going to lose their minds, and you need to buckle down, get inside your property or home, buckle down, get it all locked down, stay inside, and you just don't go anywhere for the first, I say the dying time, we talk about the 90-day window, and the first 90 days is the most critical, and it is, but I believe that whole entire dying time is really more like 120 to 180 days. So that first 6 months, because you have varying levels of dying time. You have the people that die from violence, you have the people that die from just whatever the situation was and where they happen to be at in that moment, and it happened to cause their death, the actual event itself. You have people that are going to just slowly in increments, different periods of time, as they come off different meds that are going to pass away. All of the older people and people that are dependent on things. As you do that, you're going to have waves of different people dying. And then to mention, you have no food, you have no people are not hygiene, no bathing, sewers possibly not working, no food, no water, right? Or drinking bad water. So you have all these ailments that are going to come up, all these people dying from different various disease and virus and different things like that. And so you have this huge dying time in different increments and different waves, and you have to buckle down during that. And that is when a lot of the violence, that initial wave of violence, and raping and all just the craziness is happening. Okay. And then after that, it's not that, there'll be a calm, because so many people will have died off. There'll be a calm and a lull, but do not get complacent, because now what will emerge is your cults, your groups of people, your raiders, your marauders, your groups of people who banded together and have committed to each other that they will do anything and everything to survive. And that's where the ugly stuff happens. And you have to think about your home, and how do you protect against the onesie twosie thieves, and how do you protect it against a group of people? How do you deter people from picking your house? How do you deter your house from burning down in 2 seconds? How do you deter them from it being burned down in the first place? If at all possible, right? What is your plan to be able to get out of the house unseen if the house is caught on fire? What stuff do you have out? What have you hidden? What do you have left out on purpose, so that if marauders come through, hopefully they get that stuff and they just leave, and they're not trying to just burn the house down to burn it down. This is crazy stuff that people don't want to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about how crazy it could get. But you guys, it doesn't take a very big event to happen for this scenario that I'm discussing today to happen. This goes back to, let's just bring it back a little bit to everyday life. Do you talk to your children when you go out to events, when you go to sporting events, when you go to a restaurant, when you go somewhere, when you go to somebody's house, you go to a party, you go anywhere, you're sitting and getting gas. If this happens, this is what we're going to do. Do they know the game plan of what to do? Do they know when you go somewhere, you peep where all the exits are at, right? You watch people. If you teach your children to do that, they're like sponges, and they'll start to do it on their own. And then they grow up with that sense of paying attention to their surroundings, paying attention to where they're at and what they could do if a situation happened, because it can happen anywhere, right? Staying safe is going to be it's not going to be an easy task. Okay. But if you think about it now, while we have, a normalcy, we have, hey, the ability to buy things that you want, to get things you want, to build and build your home to protect, right? Somebody asked me on the channel recently too, hey, if I have bars on the windows and doors, do I need a weapon? Yes, absolutely. I think absolutely need it, because one, there's other ways that somebody can get into your home. They can burn you out. They can poke a hole in the side of the wall and go in that way. It doesn't have to be, it's just that doors and windows are the easiest way for somebody to get into your home, right? It's the easiest access, right? A lot of people, though, too, even if you have doors and windows, they don't have them on the second floor. So it just takes a ladder, just takes somebody who likes to climb, and then boom, they're in one of those higher windows, right? So you do not sleep on just the security of that you have certain things. For me, every time we add a security element, I feel a little bit better, but don't let that just be like, okay, well, nobody can get in here. No, they always can get in here. And then if they absolutely can't get in, you just, Fort Knox, right? You've just really done a really good job. it's hardcore because you have to think about fire and what they'll do. They'll try to smoke you out. They'll try to get you out with fire, and they'll just have this mentality like, what are you trying to hide? And screw it. We're just going to burn you down, because they have this violence in them, right? They're not thinking like, oh, we don't want to burn it down because there could be valuable resources in there. No, their minds are gone. They're desperate, and they're going to do whatever they can. And who knows, maybe you come out and then they're able to still get some stuff before the house completely burns down, right? So what have you done for your house? How is your house fireproofed? What kind of siding do you have on it? I just learned from a show that stucco it really can stop a fire, or stop a fire from spreading, right? And so it was interesting to just kind of learn that, this house had stucco on it. They had a fire on a porch. The fire was out of control, but it, for the most part, really stopped at the front porch. You can see where it started to encroach in the house, but the stucco really slowed it down. And so you come to the metal siding, metal roofing, brick, just you think about your siding and your house as a whole. How easy is it to just be caught on fire, right? And that helps. If a Molotov is thrown at it, is it going to immediately start on fire, or do you have something kind of situated to where, okay, maybe it's not going to just catch on fire right away? What do you have? Maybe you do suppression fire and you get them to scatter, but they've started some kind of fire. What do you have on your property? What do you have set up to go as far as fire hoses and hoses ready to go to put out any kind of fire that is going when you've maybe scattered and got people to leave you, right? Like what can you do? Now I get it. People are like, you're talking about a lot of stuff that costs a lot of money and all this stuff. This is merely just to get your mind thinking, because if you do have money, or you do have a moment where you're like, okay, we can put in a security feature. Which one do we want to do? What do we want to do? And you've got your mind thinking about the different things that you want to prepare for you and your family, where you live, in your situation, because every situation is different. You live in an apartment and they're going through apartments and they're pillaging and just getting all the sources they want. That just becomes that they're just gonna, they're in a building and they can't get into a specific apartment. Yeah, maybe they just skip it because they have 90 other apartments maybe to go through, so they're just like, screw it. But what do they do at the end of that scavenging? Are they just leaving the building and leaving, or are they trying to break down the door because they're determined to get into every single apartment? Are they catching the building on fire? How are you getting out of that? Like, there's a lot of scenarios to think about. And this goes to basic survival, basic, how do you escape? How do you get away from stuff? How do you protect yourself? But this is literally one of the number one things that if you prepare and you have items, that's the first feat. Awesome, right? But it doesn't matter if you can't protect it. If you cannot protect your items, your things, your family, it doesn't matter, okay? So think that through. Think about the game plan for hiding and getting out, and what is in plain sight that they'll feel like, okay, we got something. They're not here. Let's take what we got, and they just leave, right? They just leave. They don't try to burn down the place because they're satisfied with what they got, and they just leave the premises. I mean, it just depends, or maybe it doesn't even go that way, and it's a shootout from the jump, and you're not even trying to get them. The way you've set up stuff, the way you've set up your perimeter, you're able to keep them a bay and far away, right? Because they're fearful of that they're going to get hurt if they come any closer, right? So think those things through. I know it's a big topic. I know it's a big thing. And if it's too much for you to think about, the marauder situation, then bring it back. Bring it back to just somebody trying to just break in your garage and grab stuff. Somebody just trying to breaking windows and trying to get in and see what they can just grab real quick. People check doors, locks all the time. People are getting bold. Cameras and lights and all that stuff doesn't necessarily stop people now. So imagine people in desperation. Do you think lights and stuff is going to, stop people? Especially think about a grid down where there's no power, there's no internet. They know that your AI technology doesn't work. Your cameras probably don't work. Could you have a CCTV and happen to have a person that has that set up on a solar and they can still watch and see? Sure. But the average person, the minute that power goes down, they lose all that stuff. And criminals and people that are desperate and looking for stuff are going to know that. The cameras don't work. The lights don't work. Whatever doesn't work. Okay, yeah, these motion lights work, but who cares? I'm going to get in and I'm going to get out. Okay. So think about all these things. I hope this gets your mind thinking about safety, safety concerns, getting your children involved with paying attention to their own surroundings, their own things. You know, other countries are warning that we are the danger. This is the dangerous place to be. And so get with the times, you know, just like they're warning about, I think it's Canada's, they warned that, you know, almost every American has a gun, you need to be careful, all this stuff. And it's like, it is a true fact, right? But it's also something you have to teach your children. You have to teach your children about weapons and about how to handle them and the appropriate time to handle them, and gun safety and locking stuff. And it's true, you know, but you got to teach your, you know, it goes back to like those shootings that were happening a little while ago with wrong, you know, our kids going and making bad decisions and that ending up and being shot and being killed in different situations. And so you've got to teach your children stuff, because it's a dangerous world and people are on edge, people are unhinged, and different things are happening, and we've got to prepare them, right? And you've got to prepare your home for that day when you're trying to protect against, you know, anybody trying to get the stuff that you've worked so hard to, you know, stockpile and to save, to make sure you and your family are okay. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care. Bye.